Hey everybody, Scott Detweiler here. Sorry, gotta adjust my volume here. I gotta figure out how to do this automatically. I just do it the hard way, I guess. So today we're going to be looking at kind of the new AI weekly thing that I have going on. By the way, I couldn't get my other camera to work today, so you get the top-down view of everything, which will work when we get into Photoshop, because then you can watch when I'm pressing and whatever. I'm a really efficient Photoshop user. I've been using it for a long time, so how I use it is pretty efficient. And so if you're looking for hints on how to get faster, well, just this is the view you want right here. So today we're going to be looking at, we're going to be playing in MidJourney, and we may actually wander into other tools as well. Stable Diffusion actually just about 10 minutes ago released their new update. So this is the public release. So we're going to start building some of our own workbooks from that, so we can actually work on my own machine here, which would be kind of cool. The weights have been released, I guess. So we'll get in there and we'll kind of look around. That's really technical. And I don't know if we'll do that as part of a live stream. That's probably a separate video that people can, if you're having difficulty sleeping, it would be a really great option to watch, so something like that. So what we're going to do today is the theme is Steampunk. So this is a weekly AI art challenge that I'm in, and it's kind of a nice little something to do. You can kind of get me out of the house, right? Or keep me in the house, as it were. So that challenge this week was 7 Deadly Sins, and I did mine on, find my number in Twitter here. Let me drag it out of the way because my Twitter is not safe for work and YouTube is safe for work. So let me go find that picture for you. Here we go. Ta-da! So this is the one that I came up with, and if you watch the live stream at all, I worked on this entire image from beginning to end. So you get to watch me kind of fiddle around in MidJourney and other tools to kind of get what I was looking for. So we used about 3 or 4, I think we used 3 tools total. So we used MidJourney. We tried to use DALL-E, which I actually like the lips for. So we did save the lips from DALL-E, and the rest of the face was done using GFPGAN, which is another video I did. So we used 3 complete tools to do this, as well as Photoshop, I guess. You got to count that. Because we did fix the coins and a lot of other little nuances here. Added my own texture in the background to kind of make it look more painterly. So if you are on Twitter, this is my Twitter handle here. And that's a good way to kind of keep track of what's going on there. We will be having our own contest here, and we actually have a sponsor for it. And the winner is going to get their picture, whatever picture that is that you want, printed large and in charge on a really nice canvas. So this is the same group. It's H&H Color Lab in Kansas City. And they're the ones that actually print all my client work. So I'm a full-time photographer, in case you don't know that. So I specialize in boudoir, but I probably do about 10 or 15 high school senior pictures a year. I do a lot of corporate headshots and actors. And then I do a lot of boudoir and body paint. And those canvases are printed by H&H. And I just absolutely love all their products. And the metals, actually. I do things on metals as well. Maybe we'll give away a medal next month. I don't know. I turn that off. But I want to turn this into a monthly competition where we pick a theme and we kind of go with it. I haven't determined when we're going to start that yet, but it will be soonish. And when we do that, then it'll be a big kickoff and we'll have a month of warm up and everything. So that's what we're going to do on here. So today, I still have to stop blabbering. Today what we're going to do is we're going to work on Steampunk is the theme. I don't know what I want to do yet, so that's exactly the reason why we have these amazing tools, is we can kind of start sketching, as it were, and to see what's going on. Big welcome to, I don't even know how to say this, is it All Music? Our newest professional member for the channel. So the professional members get the Photoshop documents that we create. So if you're wondering what the difference is with the different tiers, that tier, they get everything everyone else is, but they get the Photoshop documents of the layers included. So they'll get whatever it is that we end up making today. We may not get it done today. I'm going to kind of work on it and see where we go. A couple of years ago, I did a body paint shoot with a steampunk theme, and I can't really show these because obviously it's body paint, but I can show some of these that aren't too, like this one is safe for work. I've already removed her bits from it. But yeah, so we did this in my studio. So I was thinking maybe I would go back. This is in 2017. This is my naming convention, so I can quickly know, oh, June 11th in 2017. That's when I shot this. Super easy way to kind of figure out what I'm doing. So I may go back and dig this up and see if there's any images of her that I want to use. Ideally, I would have obviously gone through the MidJourney or Stable Diffusion and figured out what I wanted, and then go back into Photoshop and then go to the studio, I should say, shoot her to work with the pose and maybe facial direction, lighting, everything, get that to match, and then load this together and smash them together in Photoshop. So that is the goal, but we're working backwards because I haven't been in the studio this week, so we're going to work on an old image, maybe. Again, we're going to see what we kind of get. If we don't get something we like, then maybe we'll work with other tools, because there are a lot of other tools out there if we can get something do we want. Dream Studio is now the interface for Stable Diffusion, so if you don't like the interface of Discord and you want to try Stable Diffusion, it is now dreamstudio.ai is now open. I have a membership on there. I paid for one, but I do get extra credits because I was a beta tester. But they've kind of shut all that down now, so we all have to use the same interface. I'm going to give it, personally, I did a video on this a couple days ago. I'm going to give this a few days, maybe a week before I start spending money on it, because it was still like, you know, random limb generator, and I really didn't enjoy that very much. So I'm going to hold on this and wait till other people, you know, post some stuff in the Discord to see what it looks like before I want to start actually spending my money on it. We'll see. So we'll go there. I've loaded up DALL-E 2 just in case we're going to use it. I don't know if we're going to or not. And then GFPGAN, which you did a video on that. This fixes faces. So in case we need it, we got everything up. So we did Bob Ross as the challenge of the day, which I didn't really enjoy, I have to say. This is the one I kind of came up with here. And it was like, whatever. So he says, literally found my channel through another video, and he quite literally just started streaming. So perfect timing. Hey, well, welcome. All right, so let's get going on this. So steampunk is our theme. So we're going to imagine. And what do you want to do steampunk-wise? I don't even know. So I photograph women for a living, so I kind of wanted to be a portrait. But a portrait of what? I don't know. So let's start with steampunk. Scene. Obviously, we don't have to put the word scene there. Oh, it's scene, I think, kind of helps the engine understand I'm looking for, you know, more of a view of something instead of an object that's a steampunk, you know, because then I don't really want that kind of thing. So we get a steampunk styled even, so it knows kind of what I'm looking for in a factory, because why not? And I want to do it with a portrait, meaning it's going to be vertical, not horizontal. At least I think so. I think that this theme may lend itself better to a horizontal layout. I don't know. We're going to find out. But I kind of want to do portrait, so I'm going to go that direction. I want this to look somewhat realistic. I don't really want it to look super painterly like this. Isn't really what I'm looking for. So I'm going to use 8K. Now that doesn't mean that I'm asking this to be 8,000 pixels on the long edge. That means that if you were to have an 8K TV, what would it look like? You know, how would the image be viewed? It'd probably have an aggressive depth of field, for example, things along that line. So we can mix these together, like, let's say intricate, highly detailed. Highly detailed and intricate are both, again, kind of styles, right? You're not saying add more detail than you normally would. I mean, in a way you are, but it's a style. So we want for intricate, highly detailed, steampunk scene in a factory. Is there anything else we want? I would like volumetric. Lumetric. I have difficulty spelling, in case you didn't notice that. That's kind of fun. I am unmedicated ADHD. Superpowers. So we let this go. So notice how I'm working here, just as a general rule of thumb. The most important things, your biggest scheme, are to the left. Start there and then work toward the little tiny nuance details as you go down. So the artist and things like that, I kind of put in the middle and it would keep going. Oh, I did write on a factory. Thank you. I meant to write in a factory. Thank you. And I want to kind of explore it in this way. This is my kind of prompt engineering is the term, I guess. This is obviously somewhat low level. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, dyslexics, untie. I mean, unite. Yeah. Anyway, so highly detailed volumetric. Is there anything else I want in there? I don't know. I like fractal. So an arrangement of things would use more of a fractal rule. That may show itself in small, intimate details. It may not be like obvious, but like plant leaves and things like this are also working with the fractal side. So ADHD with autism, absolutely welcome. You are welcome. I'm ADHD and I am dyslexic. So there you go. And I don't medicate at all. I'm drinking Monster today, which is my poison of choice. Yes, I know someday I'll die, and it probably be because of that, or it might be because you drink or you swallow saliva in small amounts over long periods of time. Either one probably will result in your death for sure. We're going to do portrait. I use this as a shortcut. This is if you use slash is it option preferences or something like that. I have it written down because I never remember it. But I only said it once and I kind of forgot about it. But if you look at options or preferences, you can find there's a set and a list, and you can create these. So I have tall, which is 2:1, portrait, which is 3:2, then landscape, and then wide. So they go from most extreme to that. So let's just start here. And I want to throw in a quality. Default is 2. I think, well, let's leave this at the default, but let's change the S, which is the stylization or the kind of the randomization, to 5,000. It goes up to 60,000 where it completely ignores pretty much anything we put. I think the minimum is 625. So we're going to go 5,000, maybe 2,500. Because we wanted to kind of pay attention to these prompts, but I'm open to suggestions because I really don't know what it is I'm looking for. I'm looking to be inspired. So let's see what happens. Oh yeah, I have the up beta turned on too, which is fine. It's their new upscaler, which I think tends to make things a little bit too smooth. Oh yeah, chaos. I forgot about chaos as well. Yeah, I forgot to put that one in there. That's okay. Chaos and the stylize in a combination with each other are pretty cool. But again, that's so many variables moving all the time that I don't know if I'd be able to kind of figure out what's going on there. So we're just going to kind of see what pops up here. Ideally, again, I'm probably going to put a person in this at some point. Again, I'm a portrait photographer. I'm not a landscape photographer or whatever. So at some point, I'm going to grab some money and put them in here. By the way, I have all these great body paint images that I've worked on that I can't work on YouTube. And what I'm going to start to do is do live streams for members only, where I have all the advertising and all that kind of stuff turned off. So YouTube will actually let me do an 18 plus version. So I'm going to do those, I think, because I got to get them done anyway. And I'm going to use MidJourney to kind of help with the background. In fact, I have a really cool idea for one. So we're going to do those as live streams, but those will be members only at the sponsor level and higher, I should say. Obviously, that should be kind of fun. Hey, Cthulhu Lord. Hey, dude, I am a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan. I have to show you guys. Someday I'll have to get up well, this is up. I'll get it. Hang on. I wish my regular camera was working. I have a Scotch decanter here that is epic. Cthulhu-oriented kind of thing. I got this at some shop somewhere in the middle of Iowa when I was speaking down there one year, and I was like, oh my god, I love this thing. There you go, ADHD. Anyway, so I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft fan, so Cthulhu Lord, that's a great name. All right, how we doing here? 97%. I think these are interesting. Let's find out here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So censorship, in case you don't know, MidJourney does not allow any sort of nudity, and their prompts are significantly censored. So you can't get anything remotely, rude out of it. Stable Diffusion, however, will end up with no filter. Right now, it does have a filter, and that's because Discord doesn't allow nudity. So they had to turn all of it off, or at least blur the images during beta. So if you use the Dream Studio now and you notice the images are blurry, it's because it's still using the nipple protection scheme. That will be going away, according to everybody, so that you can make things that your mom's not proud of. But you should not make things your mom's not proud of. Okay, so I like this. This is fine. I do want to... See, I never get... Everyone says just use the up arrow. It works about 2% of the time. So frustrating. Let's do this one. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do a landscape out of it. And let's leave everything else the same. These go away. Well, except for the S5000. Something like this. That'll work. so we can kind of get something going. Oh yeah, succubus isn't allowed. There's all kinds, and I've seen some people work their way around that, which then that just gets them in trouble. Do I want an interior scene? Yeah, I almost always want an interior scene with steampunk, although that's a really interesting question. I'm not really sure. But this is how I typically start. I just kind of give it a rough approximation, get some ideas, and then go from there. And if I'm looking at these 4 that we generated earlier, right now I kind of like this one and this one. And the primary reasons, although I do like this floor, the reason why I think these would be problematic is when we look at images in general, like, so I'm an image competition judge, like I judge these big photography competitions. One of the things we look for, the primary thing we look for is impact. In fact, I have a couple videos on this channel where I discuss the images I'm sending into print competition, or I will do a review of images. And impact is the trunk of the tree. There are 12 different things we evaluate when we look at images, and impact is the big one. Like if you have great lighting, but you have no impact, you have this great boring high school senior picture that's technically well lit, and the kid's cute and everything, but you're like, it's just boring. We want to avoid that. So what we want to do is we want to find something with impact. Now, these are fine, but the thing that I'm leaning on is this foreground element here, because I would like to have a foreground, a middle ground, which would be the woman, and the background, which would be whatever we end up with back here. So this, if I put the girl in front of it, it's fine, but it does lack that bit of storytelling, and I kind of want to not have to deal with that. Now, I may have to borrow from another image, which is probably what I'll end up doing, but it's much easier if I have something to kind of play with, and I think I like this versus this. So I have an area here. Kind of think of like where you were going to put her. You could put her between these objects. And I tend not to shoot from the feet to the head. Like I tend to like a 3/4 view. So again, if I can hide her back in here, this is kind of a good spot. So I kind of like this one here. So let's run some versions of 4 there. And now let's go back to these and see what we got. Now this is where volumetric is really starting to kind of play into things. Do I have videos? I do have videos in there demonstrating impact. Yeah, they're actually the ones that say photographic competition or anything to do with print competition. It'll be in there. Does MidJourney work in Element? I don't know. I've never used Element. Hey, Bobby, we were waiting on you the whole time. We're glad you're here. You're not late. We're just kind of getting started. Okay, so using what I just talked about, and we want a foreground element to kind of play with. And then you see what volumetric is doing is adding kind of this fog and then lighting it. And that's one of the ones I use a lot. I really like that. This is nice because, again, great foreground elements. This one here, also very nice. This is too much, and this doesn't make any sense to me. So let's run with this one here. Again, I want variations on this one, and I want variations on the 4th one. All right, so while those are cooking, let's take another look at this from a different standpoint. Let's talk about keywords that I love that no one uses, or that I see very few people use, if any. And one of my favorite ones is brutalism. So, or brutalist. So brutalism is an architectural style that's kind of, if you think like Soviet Union, you know, big concrete buildings with very little detail, just like really heavy, stout looking, you know, almost like monstrosity type of buildings. That's a brutalist type of architecture. Let's spell this right. Brutalist architecture. It would no longer be intricate. We can leave highly detailed there. Yeah, these look very different. By the way, if you are a stable diffusion person, note that it was trained on a square, a 512 by 512 square. So when you start pulling it into a portrait mode, that's when it starts adding extra limbs, because it really isn't really sure it's what it's supposed to do there. They say that training will be changed at some point, but just be aware that there's some differences there. Is there a difference between outcome of 1 to 1 and 100 to 100? No, it's the same thing. Exactly the same thing. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Do I want to do portrait again? Yeah, let's do portrait. Volumetric, fractals, fine. This is probably adding a bit of something. I kind of like that. So steampunk scene, factory, whatever. Let's run with that. See what that turns out. All right, let's go back here. I wish I could view these bigger. These are just a pain in the butt to look at small. I don't love any of these. Is that the same thing? Is that what I'm looking at? Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, so these are kind of like workshop-y looking ones now. Again, not really loving any of this, because Steampunk, if you enter this competition, by the way, it's just on Twitter. It's just some people on Twitter, so it's nothing like big. Everyone's like, how do you get in the competition? It's just a Twitter competition run by a lady, I think in Australia or Europe. And we've got about 60 people, so it's already gigantic. So you could do this with your own friends, you know, come up with a competition each week and come up with your own hashtag and kind of do your own thing. But I want to have something that isn't typical. Like, these are typical, right? If you type in Steampunk, you're going to get this. I need to bend this in a way that isn't typical. So that's kind of that thing that I talked about, impact. But now it's more of impact on how we're going to implement this thing. Like, I can't have it be the same thing you type in. I got to do something exciting. So these are fine. I'm hoping this is going to be more interesting. Hey, Chris. Hey, I appreciate you guys all typing stuff in here too. Brutalism aggressive, yeah, that's it's kind of the next step up of this one. Queensland, there you go. Australia, it's Australia for. That's a horrible accent I just did there. All right, well, it's cooking 77%. So I need to do something that's different. Hey, how about we do this? Let's, because I shoot women. Let's do Steampunk. Let's change it. We got a scene. Oh, by the way, these are not trash. Okay, so we got even some of these here that I'm not excited about. These little details, like in the corners here, these kinds of things. When we go to assemble our final piece, like I did with the one with the coins for the greed for the 7 deadly sins, I used pieces from other imagery. So don't think, oh, that was just horrible. What am I going to do with that thing? There's so much available for you to do with these things. Hey, I can turn my light on so my keyboard's not so dark. There you go. All right, do we love any of this? This is that brutalism again. This is interesting. Again, it's kind of a great little photographic backdrop. So let's upscale that one just because I kind of like it. All right, let's change this. Steampunk Queen, stylized. Let's get rid of this. Steampunk Queen in a factory. AK intricate. What kind of queen is she? She's the dark queen. She's a dark and beautiful queen with red hair. Well, so what I'm doing here, aside from butchering the word beautiful, is I want to kind of get I want to focus on her, but I also don't want to just use the word beautiful because that's too generic. We need to be more specific. Like, it's going to end up being a portrait, meaning a close-up of her, because of the fact that we've kind of said beautiful queen with red hair. Now, if I want her whole body, I can say things like whole body or whatever. That may or may not work. The best bet is to go with a landscape, first of all, and tell it that it's an epic scene, or that it's more than just, it's just not focused just on her, right? Now, if we wanted to kind of take it a step further, she's in a factory, so that could be her face, and you got a factory in behind, but what if we say, and she's standing on a, what's she standing on? Complex machine, maybe. So we've said, hey, she's got feet, and this is what she's doing. She's standing on something, so it doesn't really make as much sense to show that it's just her face. Oh, dude, Kai, you just won my heart there. Dark beautiful queen with red hair. She's dark beautiful queen made of gears. Yeah. And yeah, let's get rid of the red hair part, because that's going to help it kind of back off a bit. I think if we focus too much on face, detail, like if we say she has a smile, you know that it's going to have to be close enough to demonstrate that she has a smile, right? So just kind of common sense is we want to be generic in some ways. Beautiful queen, we might end up with a shot of her back, for example, because she might have a beautiful back. But we also said she's standing on something, so we should expect to see her feet. But we also didn't say she's doing anything with her arms. But again, if we make this too much, at some point it's going to be a little bit weird. So again, let's go with a stylize of, say, 5,000. And chaos. Let's throw chaos in there. I don't remember what the default for chaos is. Does anybody remember? You can throw that in the chat. I don't remember what it is. And let's use a queue of 4 this time. So a higher quality, just for funsies. And I think that looks pretty good. So let's make it a prompt. JLo, you love my videos. Thank you. It's all about my fancy hairdo. That's right. I'm bald, in case you didn't know. All right, what kind of hilarity will this produce? Oh, let's go look at this one. So this turned out fine. This, by the way, looks all smooth because this is the new upscale beta, which I'm fine with. I'd say this is fine. I like to rate these two because you're helping to train the engine. Because it doesn't remember from session to session, so it doesn't learn about you and what you like. It's just in a generic sense, what do you like, what do you not like. So let's ask for a detailed upscale redo of that. Do we see anything else back here, by the way? We ran these a few times, and we were looking for something that was better than this one. Which I don't think we got. So let's take this one and upscale number 2 as well. And I think we like the number 4. Let's upscale that as well. So by the way, if you type in settings down here, it'll bring up this nice little extra kind of fun little thing. I'm going to change it from upscale, beta upscale to regular upscale. I'm not a real fan of this right now. If I wanted, I could ask for it. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. Just because I just don't tend to use it as much. Watching some comparing images between old and beta upscale. Do you think the betas make the images more detailed or less colorful? No, I think it just smooths it out a lot. But that being said, in Photoshop, you could easily combine those together to get what it is that you're looking for. Oh, there's the answer. Chaos of 10 is what you usually use. Let's try it. Let's again, I'm a big fan of changing things one at a time. So we're going to enter the same thing we just entered, but let's do a chaos of 10 and see what kind of significant thing that makes. So I am in relaxed mode, which means I can do this all day long. Do I think the depth of field is impacting it negatively? Maybe, but I don't mind the depth of field because, again, I know that foreground elements will be blurry. So when I'm done with this thing, I need the foreground elements to be blurry anyway. So if they come up blurry, that's good. What is going on here? Yeah, this is going, this is not, I guess she's not as beautiful as I thought she would be. Yeah, so let's try this again. I mean, it's not even halfway done yet, but I'm not seeing her tiny. I'm seeing whatever that is, which is cool, but not what I'm looking for. At least I don't think that's what I'm looking for. I'm open. Dark and Beautiful Queen. Let's get rid of the word beautiful here. Dark Queen in a factory. Let's get rid of this too. Let's kind of simplify it. Standing on a complex machine. Chaos of 10. Oops. There we go. All right, so let's go see what else we're baking here. Should I have her wear gears? You know, that's a valid one as well. Let's play with that. Dark made queen. A dress made of gears. There you go. Standing. Let's do standing. In complex factory. And I would probably do here, I would probably go back and do this as landscape again. There's fine there. Let's get rid of this. Oh, invalid parameter. What did I do? I erased some stuff I wasn't supposed to erase. Hey, thanks for joining me today, by the way. This is just me goofing around, having a good time. Here we go. A little bit too tight right there. That was the problem. Okay. Have you found a way to get rid of the blur? Yes, you can use no blur. You can also use no DOF. That works fine. But again, I kind of want it because I'm trying to sell it as real. I want to sell this as real. Can you use a refocusing ESR-GAN? ESR-GAN, sorry, change the depth field. You can, yes. There are several that do that, and they do a pretty nice job. But if I just get what I want right out of the box, that's pretty good actually. I can see using this possibly. So let's just save it as it is. Let us throw that into a folder here in MidJourney. We'll probably go get those in a minute anyway. This is done. See, this is that light upscale redo. I don't like that. Let's do the detailed one. Yeah, I'm all about paying for the, let's say it. Oh yeah, can you use 18 millimeter, 200 millimeter? Yeah, you can specify a camera millimeter. So about 40 to 50 is the human eye. I use a 55 millimeter lens, which I call it the equivalent. That's typically what I shoot with on a given day, is a 55 millimeter Zeiss. Handy. Yeah, this is the camera I shoot with on any given day. So it's a Sony A7R IV, 60 something megapixels, I think, and then a 55 millimeter Zeiss, which is my baby. And that's what I use on a daily basis. And it's about the equivalent to the human eye, or so I think. So I like that. Dark syrup. You guys are awesome. You're thinking of all kinds of crazy stuff. I love it. Oh, here's our, what is going on here, people? Yeah, no. This is interesting. I guess. You know what? It's interesting enough for, let's just re-roll that one because you never know. And these re-rolls, by the way, are quick because it's already got most of the work done. I prefer MJ to DALL-E. Yeah, I do too. And I, not to say that they're useless. It's just I use each one for a different thing. DALL-E is great if you want a photo of something that doesn't exist. You know, you need a cat with a grenade. You can go get a picture of a cat with a grenade. Okay, that's great. But does that inspire me? Does that whatever? I mean, if anything, it's a meme generator in my mind. But I have used it. A couple weeks ago, I used it to correct hands, and then I used it again to correct a helmet. So there are some pretty good things in there that I can do. You like the music? I'm glad. I like the music. I hate it when it's like dead silent. You know, it's so silent you can hear the person blinking on their show. That's bad. All right, so we've got everything that we wanted so far. By the way, I am going to take this one and run a light scale redo of it as well. So the light upscale is the old upscaler, and I like that. So that can help me with, again, if I need to blur the background, because sometimes this gets a bit crunchy, then I think I'll be happier with that. Perhaps Diesel will help with a prompt. Diesel, yeah, that's Steampunk is actually a separate thing. So we could actually run with that. Just to kind of see what happens. But we're going to kind of let it catch up a bit here because we've done a bit of work. I don't want to know if it was good yet. So we've got quite a few. If you don't know how many jobs you have in the queue, you can type in info and hit enter, and it will show you that I have 3 running jobs, 4 queued. So we've got a lot of work queued up right now. Oh yeah, BioShock style. Yes, BioShock, by the way, fantastic game. I didn't like the second or third one as much, but man, I really loved that first game. I have so many memories of playing that game. Great game. Can someone explain how to weight works in prompts, please? Yeah, I can talk about that. So yeah, let's actually use a really good example. So let's use what we're working on right now and use some weights with it. So we have a Steampunk Dark and Beautiful Queen. Okay, so if we use 2 colons here, that means that this is the most important thing. It's a weight of 1. There's a 1 there, but you really don't see it. I sometimes put the 1 just so that I can kind of see. So standing in a dress made of gears, or she's wearing a dress made of gears. And again, if we put a 1 here, these are now equal things. So what I do is I go from subject to subject, and then a bunch of details about those subjects down here. So again, most important to least important, or your big thinking things to the nuances about those things. And we can reference them like that. So over here, we can talk about she's wearing we could say she's wearing a dress, and then over here we could say dress full of gears. Like you can do that. Now, let's say it's more important that she's a dark queen. So we're going to put that at 2. So Steampunk Dark and Beautiful Queen, 2. Wearing a dress made of gears. It may or may not use gears a lot on her dress. It may just put gears in her dress. A little bit about that. I love the Bioshock reference. Bioshock. And again, we can weight this heavily. You know, we could say it's more important that this be more Bioshock flavored with the queen dress made of gears. Do not put more than like 3 of these things. I mean, you don't have 3 different concepts you're trying to smash together into one picture. More than likely you have one concept you're trying to do well. And you're not going to do it well if you put colons between every word, because highly detailed and volumetric are not equal. Like, they're just simply describing everything else about the scene. So again, most important to nuances about those things. Now, if we had an image we were referencing, we could put that in our front. So I usually say image we're referencing, which, by the way, it's not going to use your image. Even if you put like an image weight of 1,000,000, it's going to use kind of the colors, kind of the shapes. Think of it like if you were handing it an image, it's going to say, what words make this image? Let's use those words instead of the image. That's kind of the way to look at it, right? Yeah. So by the way, all the people use commas and spaces and all these things. The commas really aren't necessary. But if we look at it from where this engine is going, like, it doesn't really know English yet. But the MidJourney team has already said they are going to be focusing on kind of the prompt engineering next to make the prompts better so that it will understand English better. So right now, you're basically just using a noise separator for us so we can read this easier. The only things that really matter are the double hyphens and these double colons. There are some other nuance, small ones as well, but these double colons are very important. And again, don't abuse them by just throwing them between every prompt. I've seen some prompt engines out there that do that, and you're not going to get a great result from it because everything is so equal. So let's run that one. All right, so let's go see. Oh, I did that again, didn't I? At least I'm consistent. It's down here. I forgot a space in there. So let's grab this prompt because I can never get this thing to copy paste. What did I do now? Oh, okay. I'm like, did I do anything wrong again? Okay, so I want to make sure that we're not missing anything. Okay, here we go. Where did you go? You went away. Oh, I don't think she was done yet. All right, so I like this one. No, this is the light upscale redo of this, which I don't like. Okay, it's a redo of our queen. Yep, nothing here. Kind of turning my crank. How about here? This is interesting. Look at that. She's like got this huge towering form over this little dude here. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. S is stylized. So it starts at 625, which basically turned it off, but it isn't really off. And it goes up to 60,000, where it basically ignores what you typed. Hey, this is a CK brand shoulder pauldron here. If you're looking for those, that's a wonderful brand of shoulder pauldrons, apparently. Yeah, I know. What else we got here? Oh, this is very nice. This is really interesting. This is fun, and this is actually pretty good, but not what I want. Like, if I'm going to use a face, I'm going to use my own face, I think, not my own face, but one of the ladies I photographed. Although, pretty damn nice. I don't understand, again, from an image judging standpoint, this depth of field here is a little awkward, so we'd have to fix this if we're going to keep this image. Can you recommend a great site for sharing photo digital art? Flickr. You know, I really don't use one at this point. I use Instagram, and yeah, DeviantArt is fantastic. I'm a DeviantArt fan. I'm also a ArtStation. I love ArtStation. Although I don't post on it very much, I do buy a lot of. I probably spent a couple grand in ArtStation. I buy a lot of assets from there because I do a lot of 3D work and other stuff. Oh, by the way, I didn't talk about this because it isn't really going to be maybe pertinent for today. But now we can use Substance Designer materials in Photoshop, which is fantastic. So if you don't know what this product is, we'll talk about it at some point. There's actually a channel on my Discord, and people are like, "What's this?" That's what that is. Okay, so let's explore these. I kind of like these. I kind of like all of them actually. And since it's so good, let's re-roll this because if we got 4 good ones, we could probably get 4 more. Yeah, I've been on DeviantArt for a long time. Now I have to do one with my face. No, nobody needs that in their life. Oh, look at the... Oh, I just gave myself an idea by almost saying it. Let's run versions of that. And while we're here, let's run Bioshock, right? Dress made of gears. Let's get rid of this and let's run Borg. Yeah. So beautiful queen, Borg. Bioshock's the most important. Beautiful queen. So really she should be Dark and Beautiful Queen, Bioshock, and Borg. So we're just kind of, this is why you put the numbers there, because now we can re-weight it a bit, but all these other details are the same. Like we don't need to change them because this worked pretty well. We did want to try that chaos parameter a bit though. Let's try 5 on there. Just for funsies. Okay, so let's go back up here and see what we got here. All right, so none of these really trip my trigger. Yeah, the content aware fill changed as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff they changed on there. You want to thank me for watching videos lately? Very informative. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you're liking them. You know, I like making them. It just takes a lot of time, and obviously I'm taking time out of my day, so I'm not photographing people. I'm here doing videos. So yeah, huge. Speaking of which, huge thank you to all the people who are supporting me on this thing. When we are done with this thing, as I said, we'll enter it in that competition, and I'll put the Photoshop file in there. We may not get it done today, but we're going to see how it goes. I don't need any of these. I liked this one, and we re-rolled this, but I think I kind of wanted to see more about this. See, standing on a machine, I think that's the one we used here, wasn't it? Yep, standing on a complex machine. So it did try and show her feet in a couple of these. This is the fractal. This is what Fractaling is doing down here. So this one's kind of borrowing bits and pieces of what we stated. I like this one, so let's roll versions of it. I almost always roll versions of things before I upscale them. Almost always. Not always, but almost always. I like this one too. And we rolled versions of that one already. Okay, what we got here? I don't love any of these. These are still in the oven. This one, yep. We liked this one, and I did want to save this one off. I'll save that and throw that into a folder. And we'll give these a second here. This is the light upscale redo. So this is more reasonable than their new upscaler to me. I just don't love it yet. Again, it's all early, right? Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I love that your fact that you're in here now, like talking to me, because then I don't feel like I'm home alone here. Okay, so not a queen, but a fantastic group of images. I really love this one. Let's upscale that one. Well, so I should roll versions of it. Let's just upscale it right away though, because who knows. And I loved all 4. Just re-roll them again. This one's also very nice. Again, looking for if you could say, well, if I imagine you don't have the skill or whatever, like, or you do have the skill. Do you think, oh man, I would love to take this and put it with this and they'd have a baby, right? And they'd make this thing. Well, learn that. That's what I'm doing on here. So if you watched enough of these, then you're going to start to learn how to do this. Yeah, I bite the bullet for Photoshop. I also have Affinity Designer. Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer. I have both of those products, and I like them. The only thing I don't like about Affinity Photo is that it only has one way to do frequency separation, and there are many ways, and depending on what I'm trying to do, that may not work well for me. Like if I'm a commercial photographer as well, so I shoot, believe it or not, curling irons and clippers and things like that for Target and Walmart for the boxes. Those things, they come in here. You can't use regular frequency separation to clean those up because you have a sharp edge you have to maintain, and that is very difficult. So pursue your creative side. See, people always laugh. They're like, well, how do you find so much time to do these things in the day or whatever? I don't watch TV at all. I don't turn it on. So we don't even have cable. So all I'll do is I'll put a movie on one monitor and I'll watch. But I'm a big audiobook fan. So I'm listening to like Dungeon Crawler Carl right now. Like those are fantastic books. I just put them on and I can work and I can just have it going and not have to deal. So I'm working with my laser cutter today. I cut out some little spaceships for my wife for work. So planted some spaceships. What else did I do today? I'm 3D printing some stuff on my laser cutter because I think the feet were ill-designed. So I designed better feet for it. And those are printing right now. And then I thought I'd do this. And I still have 2 boudoir books to retouch and a shoot this afternoon. So, and then when I get home, I'll come right back to this and then Photoshop some of this stuff together. That's my life. So I don't watch TV or anything like that. Not to say I don't get out with my friends. I gotta try. There's a lot of scotch in the world I want to try. So that's what we do. All right, let's look at this one. How are we doing here? These are interesting, but I only love this one. And I really like this one quite a bit. This is actually interesting as well. No idea what's going on here. This is a scene from Alien, right? This is right before he says, you know, what they're leathery eggs or something. How about we just run variations on that one? Go to the bottom here. I'm creeping up in the stream, and you don't need to do that. If you rest at the bottom here, they'll always come to you. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any, and I kind of got caught up. Well, these are Bioshock heavy, you can tell that. I don't love these. This one's interesting. Don't love it. How are we doing here? This one is really, yeah. I kind of like this one a bit, and this one too. I don't know what the hell this stuff is, but I think these two have promise. So let's run an upscale of this. Oop, it just moved right when I clicked on it. This one, and let's run an upscale of that one. Oh, this is beautiful. I love this one. Like, I just love it right away. I like this. I like aspects of this one. Yeah, I may end up not using any of those other assets we did today. But again, I've got, geez, I don't know how many things that I photograph on a given week that I might use. Like some of these giant machines here. I'm not using these today, but I really love these things. Do I think Gigapixel AI is better than GFPGAN? I do, only for upsizing. But I have Topaz AI, which I pay for, but I also use ESRGAN. It's a lot of tools, and just kind of pick and choose the tools that work best for you. This one is really interesting. This one's nice too. God, these are all good. I don't like this one, but these are, I don't know. So if I get a good roll it again. That's my attitude. GFPGAN, it stands for, so I can't remember the exact words. I have it open. It's actually, I modified this one, so I don't even remember what it stands for. It's a facial reconstruction GAN. Yes, it's another thing. It's a collaborative notebook. I put a link to it in a video I did about it. If you look for a link, geez, I think I just uploaded that video a couple days ago. You'll see it's GFPGAN. Although I say GPFGAN because dyslexics untie. But this is a great facial reconstructor. This is the same thing that Tencent site was using before it went down, or very close. How are we doing here? I don't love any of these. This is interesting, but they don't have the impact that these other ones do in my mind. What are we doing on? How are we doing here? We got 3 running jobs and 2 queued. All right, so I'm pretty happy with what we got so far. Let me organize myself here. So let's create a new folder called Steampunk. Let's go. Yeah, by the way, I finished it. So this is an interesting idea. If you are working on things and you get done with it and you're like, wow, that's pretty great. I really don't see how that can be improved. This is one I did yesterday, and I was just kind of chillaxing. I really like these, but these sunflowers need to be improved. So this is what I did with them. So if you see the before and after there, this is done in Corel Painter. You can also do it in Krita, which is another great application for painting But this is all digital paint on top of this. So all I did was impasto. Whoop, see the difference? This is not something that was done in the AI. This is something I did by hand because I like this and I thought my wife would like it. So I might print it. I don't know. So I'm going to take all the junk we've done today. I'm going to throw it into this folder down here to keep ourselves organized. All right, so put that away. We're there. Okay, we had a few alerts while I was gone here. Oh, yeah. This is still baking, isn't it? Yeah. I didn't love any of these. This is really interesting, though, I guess, from a just like a background standpoint. It's kind of cool. Like, I like this almost like a ship. This is very cool. Although it did the goofy upscale thing. I gotta turn that off. I think I did turn that off since I launched this, but let's do this one and let's do the light upscale redo as well. So I like both of these because in Photoshop I can merge them together in places to cause you to look at something. So you want an area of high contrast, an area of sharpness, and then a human face. In that order are the way that people read images. So if you have something that's high contrast, let's say a white object next to a black object, like a white something next to a black edge of the screen, your eye will be drawn to it. So you want to try and avoid high contrast, but your best place for high contrast would be again be a face because that's what it's drawn to. And then sharpness. Well, if we have the light upscale redo, not this thing, and the detail, I can use pieces of each to draw your eye. So you can steer a person around an image. I don't love any of these. I loved the one we had up here, though. Where was it? I loved a couple of these. I like this one the best, I think. Let's just upscale it. And I think this one too. We didn't love that one. It's like I always remember, or always forget, I should say, you can get rid of these by just using this X, and I'll get rid of it, and turning these things off so they're not stacked up. Meh. That one's just finished. That's not great. That didn't really go where I wanted it to go, did it? We're gonna give it a meh. Let's do it light upscale redo. That. See, I haven't loved it. That's interesting that you love it. I haven't loved it. This is pretty messed up. I kind of like this one. But again, I think that a light upscale redo on this one would help it. Again, we can use bits and pieces of either one. Dismiss these things. I like all these. I love the clouds here. This is great. This is interesting, but it needs a foreground element. This one's fine. I wish it had their bottom. This is the best one. Let's roll versions of that one. So this is my way of using MidJourney. I kind of start in some place and then kind of be inspired, like to put the word Borg in front of it and to play with things like that. Notice that what we're dealing with now isn't even the one where we started weighting it. Those we just didn't like. We were trying to be too directive. Again, I'm all about the fact that this is a sketching machine, right? This is your idea generator, ideation. This is just creating ideas for you to kind of jump and be inspired and go, oh, think of the Borg, or oh, her dress is made of gears. And you guys have been great, giving great suggestions for things like that. So you just got to keep unfolding it. It's like, well, you know, here's, you're rolling dice, right? And or playing best ball in golf. Like you all hit a ball and then we go, well, he hit the ball in front of us. Let's all start from his ball. That's that same idea here. So I'll go to that. We all go to that ball and then we all hit balls. We decide which ball was the best to go from or there. Or we just, you know what? They all suck. Let's start over. Let's go back a couple and start from her ball. Let's go there and see where we go. So it's completely open-ended that way. And I love that aspect of this. Okay, so this one is now done. That is amazing. It is not something I plan to use today, but let's save it anyway. We're going to stick it into this folder here. Where is it? Steampunk. And then here's the light upscale redo. So you see the difference between those? This is the crispy one, as I call it, and this is the light upscale. Not the new upscale. This is the light upscale. I prefer this one here. And if you notice, I'm not using the website link because it downloads it and puts it in my download folder, which I don't want it in my download folder. There's too much crap in there. In fact, while we're waiting, I kind of want to upscale this one. So let's go fast. You have to do this manually. No, here, listen to me bitch about the fact I have to type the word fast and then click upscale and then go relax again. Like, this was hard work, but yet it seems like, oh, that was so much effort. Oh. Monster break. All right. Yeah, this is worth the $30 a month right here, just to be able to work in relax mode. Yeah, we have to wait, but we've got enough running that I haven't felt like we're like lacking for things to look at any point in this. I don't know what you're thinking, but I've been pretty happy with it. And again, even if I don't use some of those pieces, I have a lot of other opportunity. Like we did, what was the 7 Deadly Sins one? If you didn't watch that, this is what we ended up with for it. I put it up on Twitter, and we did use GFPGAN to fix the eyes, but I like the lips that I had made better, which we did in Photoshop. And then I upsized it, so it's considerably bigger. This is, I think, 9,000 pixels on the long edge, the final one, which is in here, the upsize one, which let's look how big this is. And we used Chainer for that. I have a video on that in there as well. So we went to 8,100 pixels on the long edge. So that's plenty big for whatever we're going to use it for. How's this look? I love the head. The headdress is awesome. All right, I like that one. That's fun. All right, so let's light upscale redo this one. And then I want to upscale it to max as well. Upscale it to max. And I will put this this entire, or not this entire thing, but this image, whatever we get out of it, into the comments on YouTube with the full prompt, including the seed for the channel sponsors. So, the people who are supporters for the channel, you all who are paying $1 to help the channel, thank you so much. Like, you guys are awesome. So I got to try and figure out things to give you back for like that little bit is so helpful. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. She looks like a steampunk cyborg. She does, doesn't she? She's rocking that, whatever this is, on her head. And I plan to play with this quite a bit too. We're not going to stop with this. I'm not going to just run the prompt and say, that's good enough. That's our contribution to the art world is typing. I want to play with it in Photoshop. I like the Photoshop part. I don't dread it. I can't figure out if I like to do Photoshop better than photography. I mean, I do a lot of retouching for a lot of other photographers because I'm good at it and I'm fast at it and I like it. Like, those three combinations of things are awesome. So it's fun for me to sit and retouch something. Like, that's how I express myself. And I have a lot of art around my house as well, like a lot of things that I've painted. Upscale max is more a matter of design choice than a quality thing. I agree. It adds crunchiness that may or may not be a good thing. This light upscale here is much better in my mind. But let's just save that one too. I don't like this one as much as the other one. Plus, we're going to deal with the hand. This is fantastic. I love this whole group of whatever these things are. Throw that in there. And we'll say this was good. I gotta remember to mark these things. I haven't been marking them and I should be. That was good. Okay. Almost getting to the point where we're gonna start playing with these things, I think. I think I've got enough in here that I'm happy with what we've been exploring. That was almost an hour of goofing in MidJourney, and we've got, I don't even know how many images we made in there. Yeah, the crunchiness. The crunchiness. Yeah, I like the crunchiness for, again, some parts of the image. If it's way in the background, it shouldn't be crunchy because of the way depth of field works. But What we're doing to control the look of this, by the way, is this 8K intricate, highly detailed. This is the artist, more or less, that we're asking for. So if you think it's always got to be by an artist, that's more or less what this is saying, is 8K is our artist, as is intricate, highly detailed. A look, if you would. So if you say, don't think of it like an artist, but think of it as a look. Now, you know, one thing we never did do today, which I feel bad about, we should do that right now, is, again, I'm a huge Peter Moorbacher fan. I've been supporting him on Patreon for a while, and I really love his work. So since I'm happy with that, with the way this one has looked, let's run with that. And by Peter Moorbacher, and we add always a portrait. Or it could be a tall. So a tall is this 1:2, but because I can never remember it, I just made it tall, which is options, preferences, preference options, or something like that. I'm going to love this one. I know I will. I just love his work. All right. So what are we doing here? We've got these. They're okay. They're just they're equal to what we had before. This kind of tower is kind of neat. I don't know they're better than what we have. I do like some of these dress details better. Maybe. Yeah, see, but this is good. It's so good. I wish the bottom of her dress was in this shot, but let's borrow it anyway. Did I take that one already? I can't remember. Let's take it again. I know I just took the light upscale one, but I didn't think I took the big one. Is this the last one we have? Yep. It's our last job. And then we'll go into Photoshop and we'll play with it. We'll destroy some stuff. Unless, of course, one of these is like completely like, oh my god. Which I think I like already, by the way. I got to break away from doing these every week because already like so much of what I've been working on is this because I love this. I'm a huge fan of his work. And then the great Asian artist, WLOP, I think he's Chinese or she, I'm not really sure. And then another person I pay monthly for sponsorship at Patreon. This engine doesn't know who that is, which is a shame. So I'm hoping that more of the Asian art influence happens in here, because I gotta think those people have been those people meaning everyone on the Pacific Rim are frustrated with these things because their art style isn't represented very well, and I completely agree with that. Oh, by the way, you can like this video. You've been watching and you're like, dude, you're awesome, but I didn't click like. That's like clapping, yo. How do you get MJ to make art with a frog perspective? So though you would say probably something like low angle, ant's eye perspective, things like that. You just get really low into it. You could even say, you know, I found some really fun ones with GoPro footage as a starter. Just for giggles, we'll just throw it in there because we're waiting anyway. Oops. GoPro footage of Steampunk Dark Queen. Yeah, that's not going to be healthy. And we'll do a portrait and no other prompts. So just let it bake. All right, how we doing here? Yeah, see, God, I just love his work. He's so good. I have a bunch of his playing card decks and his little enamel pins, and I love this one. I just love it right off the bat. Let's variate it though. Variate it. Macro wide angle. Yep, macro's fun. I did some with a cat wearing a spacesuit. And I did this GoPro footage. These don't look like they're as realistic as they did in... you know what? Actually, let's take... Since we're sitting here and we're waiting a second, let's take this one and let's throw it into MidJourney. I mean, into Dream Studio here. Let's do a height of 704. This is all good. Let's run 2 of them, and that's all good. So we'll just dream that up. Go. This product is not ready for prime time, by the way. So if you think that you're going to use this a lot, just be prepared for a little bit of disappointment, because it's not, if I click on one of these, I can't get back to the other one. You forfeit, you have to run it again. Yeah, neither one of these is going to be worth saving. So there we go. I just spent, I don't even know how much that was, but I'm not doing that again. So I'm going to give them a couple weeks though. I really love the project and I love where they're going and I love their goal, but right now it's not inspiring me, which is the entire reason behind what I'm doing here. Yeah, you can actually ask for multiple point perspective too. You can see 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective. Yeah, so it's kind of a little more of a close-up with, you can see the perspective distortion, but I don't, it's not my thing, not my bag. It's not my bag. I love this first one. Let's upscale that one. I love it already. I knew I would. All right, let's go to bridge. MidJourney. What are we working on? Working on Steampunk. So bridge is a fantastic tool. If you're not using bridge, this is really the best way to work with so many images like this. If you click the space bar, you can open it, and again, your arrows go to each one, and you can drag them directly into Photoshop from here. So this is like the best tool. Plus, if you are using the new Substance Designer plugins and things like that, those substances do appear in here. So you can actually use so much of those tools in here. All right, what are we doing here? Waiting on this one. No, that's done. We're waiting on this one. And yeah. So I have a Discord server, by the way. If you're out and about, I don't know what that is, Willie. What are you making over there? We have a Discord server with stuff. So we have a quiet MidJourney room over here that doesn't have a lot going on. So if you don't want to pay for private, you can always use this one. And then my friend Mike is running some stuff there. Oh, these are kind of cool. And then there's also, if you are a channel member, by the way, there is a MidJourney private room down here for you. So it's nice and quiet. And again, it's only people who are supporting the channel financially. So very quiet place if you're just looking to work on things and you don't want to deal with 8,000 people or people looking at your stuff when you're working on it, looking at your junk while you're working on it. Yeah, tilt shift is cool, but it rarely works well. I'd rather apply the tilt shift in Photoshop because it's really easy. Yeah, I love this. I really couldn't tell you what I'm going to do with it, but I love it. I love it. So I'm just going to take and we'll save it to that folder just for fun. So all right, let's go play with these images now. Right? Okay. Move my hat. By the way, I did get a new tablet. The fine folks at XPPen heard me bitching about my Wacom tablet, so they sent me this. It's really nice. The on-off button's on the back, which is a little different, but it's right where I pick it up, so I'm okay with it. And it just works like every time. I like the controls on it a lot better than my Wacom tablet. I've never used the sliders or the knobs on the controls of the Wacom tablet, but this one I like. It's like it's like they're all right here. I haven't programmed the buttons yet, but I plan to hit them with I use my spacebar, obviously, the J, Alt, S, and then I do a lot of things like Gaussian blur and things like this. So I have 8 keys to program, which is enough. The only thing I wish it had, so the pen comes in this sleeve here, which is fine, like if you're traveling and you need it protected. But when I'm at my desk, I put a pen down and then I don't know where I put it. So I'm using my Wacom pen holder. So Wacom is holding the pen for the competition. Yes. All right. So, but again, don't use your pen 100% of the time. Just use it when you feel like you're going to draw. Don't use it all day long, every day, like it's a pen, because you're going to drive yourself nuts. How do I get my top-down view in MidJourney? Yeah, that's a great question. I have tried Arial. I have tried different keywords to try and get that. It really takes work. It doesn't really like a lot of that. Maybe drone view. There's so many I need to try. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm dragging the light upscale on top of the max upscale, right? And you can do it either way you wanted to do it. I love the Wacom pen holder is great, and it has the tips are like inside of it here. That's where it stores the extra tips. By the way, I have never used like a Wacom tip, like more than one Wacom tip in my life. Like I don't know why they give you 8 of them. Same with this other with XPPen. They gave me like 18 tips or whatever. I've been using the same Wacom tip for like 5 years. Like, what are you people doing that you're wearing these things down? All right, so I got the light and the max. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a mask on this. and use a brush. And oops. And I think I've already messing myself up here because I was using this earlier, and so it's monitoring my right click. All right, hang on a second. I think that when I rebooted my machine, it did something magical to these settings on this thing. So it might end up going back to my Wacom tablet if it activated this goofy Windows Ink thing, which I don't know why that is a thing. Settings. Windows Ink. Yes. Don't. Please. Just turn that thing off. All right. There we go. I was like, God, it just turned it back on. It drives me nuts. Yeah, I used the black plastic ones that come with it, and they work great. I don't know what the dealio is. All right, so if I use a black and I paint on this mask here at full. By the way, somebody asked me a question the other day, like, why do you use flow instead of opacity? I want to show that real quick because I think that's a really great thing to know. If you are using opacity, so let's say this is 100% flow, 100% opacity, right? Everybody gets that. In fact, let's use a hard brush. Okay, easy. Everybody gets this. If we put this opacity down to say 50%, like, well, I just want some light adjustments. I'm just going to use 50% here. Okay, so now when you draw it, you're making 50%. And then you decide to make another 50% thing next to it. And you're like, oh, crap. Now I've kind of got that in the middle. But notice it's not 100%. It's 50 more percent of 50%. So it's 75%. So you say, well, I'm just going to make, I'll just go over here and I'll just try and color these in. Like, this is the kind of goofiness that people end up having to deal with when you're using opacity. I just don't use opacity. This is like a nightmare to me. It's like, how do you know what you got? Now, obviously I'm using a hard edge to kind of make it obnoxious, but if we go back to 100% opacity, and what flow does is flow says over time, as you're working your pen, I want you to apply it until we reach whatever opacity set to. So we just keep applying flow until it will eventually reach 100%. Even though this is still a hard brush, you can see it works just like a spray can, right? So I just use flow, and I almost always use flow at 1% because I want it to apply slowly over time. Now, if I'm in a hurry, then I'll change it. But for the most part, I apply it this way. By the way, let's rasterize these layers. They're not smart objects. We don't need them. This is not a big thing. So in this case, I am going to put it to 100, and I'm going to make it soft. So that's Alt right click, up and down makes it soft or hard, or right and left makes it bigger or smaller. If you're a Mac person, it's the two buttons next to each other. I'm not a Mac person. It's like Option and Command or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, basically. Yeah, more or less. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, what this is doing is it's masking out the light one and allowing the heavy one to be seen. Well, I don't want that, right? But maybe I do in here, like in her dress. Like, are there details in her dress and her hair, like her thrilling headgear that we want here? So maybe these details we would definitely want. So let's bring those in. And you see it did not just add detail, it actually added additional forms. So I'm going to go a little aggressive here on it, but I just want to see what it is that I'm missing. Okay, so now I can kind of see that. So let's go fix it now. I'm just going to go in again, hit X. X swaps the black and white. So if we're going to paint with white, we're hiding that high detail. And I want to go a little bit harder brush. You want to use the hardness of the brush of what you're trying to mask. Do you see how hard this edge is here? Don't use a really soft brush and try and mask it, because that's going to look like that. So you want to try a brush that's about the same hardness. So when you're covering it up, no one can really tell what you're doing. Then you get this kind of a nice little edge. And it should look good. Like, you shouldn't be able to spot it. If you can spot it, you're doing something wrong, right? Now, there will be difficult spots like this in here. I just go over them and then correct it. Don't try and... I think it's too much effort to kind of get in there and nuance these little shapes like that. So I just go over them again later. Again, because the low level one has different forms in it, we can get some different shapes out of it. This is not hard enough there. This is the tedious part here. Welcome to the tedious part of the show. Do I love this image? I'm not sure. But you watch me make it, so we're going to finish it. And if we don't enter it in the competition, that's fine. But at least it was fun to make. And again, that's what we're doing. This is my entertainment value for the day. I also play games. I play a lot of games, but I play Go, which is a board game. Play that every day at lunch. That's my relaxation. Otherwise, I play Satisfactory. I'm playing Valheim, which I'm waiting for an update for. So we have a gaming room in the Discord. If you haven't noticed, that'd be the reason why. Okay, so I'm just going around this. I don't need to get real close to it because you'll see in a second it's really easy to fix that. I just want to get the form part here that we love and keep the rest away. So these parts here, we don't care about any of this stuff here. If we click on this, we can kind of see what I'm doing, right? So all these parts that are hanging out here, we don't need any of this stuff. So we just go in. It's easier to look at it this way than it was trying to like see what you're doing while it's turned on. So I just need to go around it. We're almost done with this. I mean, it was that fast. Then we'll add some, I think, some lighting effects to it. I think that would look nice. Is it going to win a competition at this point? I don't think so. Oops, don't hit that. Just trying to see what... how much of the sleeve do we want to show? Do we want to throw in this here? Do we want... Yeah, I think that looks more appropriate. I don't know what this is. Well, she is the... No, oh my god, I can't do that. Always gaming to pass creative block. Yep, that's what I do. It's my outlet. Like I play trivia on a trivia league, and that's Thursday nights with some friends. So we walk to a bar that's about 4 miles away. Well, 2 miles away, 4 miles round trip. So I get out of the house, or if I'm going to the studio, but the studio's 20 minutes away, so I gotta drive to that one. And I like the bottom of this dress, but I don't want to I don't want this diversion down here. Again, your eye goes to sharpness, so we don't want sharpness near the bottom of the image. Like these little crispy bits here, that's not going to help us. That. We're not going to sell anything that way. And then these things here, this is the edge of the dress. We don't need any of this. Yeah, that's all coming together pretty nicely. There we go. How are we doing? What's the shoulder look like? So I'm just kind of letting the light and the heavy kind of mix, so I can get a decent edge here, decent enough edge. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. So now I can come in here and clean this up. And again, the edge doesn't have to be super sharp because it wouldn't be. If we look at how sharp that was on her to begin with, we can't really break that. That won't work out real well. I don't know what that looks like, so we're just gonna leave it. This is all cleaned up over here. Yep, this is how you do it. Okay. So that's what we did. We just kind of we took her and we borrowed her from the big one to the little one. So I'm gonna hit save. What is that? There's new. I'm gonna put it in here. It's me hating my pen for things like this. Steampunk. Yep. Okay. All right, now let's add some lights because I like this. This is all fine, but I think we can do more with it. That's interesting. Yeah, let's do that. Can we hide edge imperfections of lighting and artificial aberrations? I don't have any problem with that so far. Like I don't mind aberrations from these are very smooth. This is like actually unrealistic the way these are lit. There should be an aberration in the form of a star from what's called the diffusion of the light. But let's use, speaking of diffusion, let's go into my textures, and I have a whole bunch of lighting over the years that I have purchased of little things. And I could probably shoot these myself too, but why? When you can buy them. I've got light hits here. These are what I'm looking for. Yeah. So I want this one. It's gonna be huge. That's fine. We can just change it. So I'm thinking I wanna feature one of these. So I'm gonna change this to screen and oops. Something like this. I was actually thinking about lighting her whatever this is up here. Right. To duplicate, just Alt and tug on something. Don't. I mean, you can go up and Control J, or you can drag it down into the new button. All these are great, but just Alt tugging is enough to duplicate it. Let's rotate this one so it's not the same. There, let's do one more. That one top. Let's grab another one. Let's grab this one. If you don't have these, again, these are just things that I've bought, but you can find these all over the internets. The internets. A big something. Does this look fake as hell? It does, because it isn't illuminating everything from the back, so it doesn't make sense for it to be this big. It would have to be a small item. Lighting is the biggest problem with trying to convince people of a composite that looks real, right? That's your number one issue. So when you're doing this, keep in mind, does it look real? Like these things here look real enough that I can get away with this, because they're not. She's rimlet enough because that's the way that this thing works. Do I like that one? I don't know that one. That should be a bit much. So is that one. But I like the ones. Oops, I like the ones on her head. I think. Which one is this other one? That one. That one must die. Okay, those are good. Let's rasterize these. Put them in a bucket. Then put hue and saturation on top of that, and now we can tweak their color. Looking for a warmer. Actually, I think that the color they were when they started out is good enough. I can't get a better color out of it. I like this. The screen blending mode really kind of did a lot for making these look good in my mind. I'm pretty happy with that. See, these lines are from the edges. I can see those. Those are driving me a little wacky. So we got to put a mask on this group here, and then we need to go in and blur those edges a little bit. Just like this, so it's not a hard edge. Screen blending mode only works on something that's brighter than black. So if it's not brighter than black, it's not going to matter. So we just don't want to cover up any of these nice little light God rays kind of things coming around with these things. Oops, let's go back here. There we go. No, I don't see those lines anymore. I was like, what the hell are those lines? That looks pretty good. I'm seeing more lines in there, but I think those are... I think we got rid of those officially. Didn't we? No, maybe not. A little bit close there. I don't want to cut into that too much. And I do want them to overlap over her head, by the way. I don't want to cut, like you could apply it. You could apply this. Oops. We put all this in another group, for example, and we could apply a mask, that mask of the girl to it. My God, what are you doing, Scott? Put all this in a bucket and then apply this mask. There you go. this doesn't look right, right? Because if you see the light, then the light should come back through the camera. So that's unnecessary, and we don't need this anymore anyway. Is there anything else that we did today that was worth bringing in to this specific image? Like any of these other things. So in this same figure is pretty decent. So we were talking about earlier about like this scene. Because we have her, we could borrow these two layers and bring them over here. Okay, so now we could her lights are gone, so she's all like, "Where are my lights?" Let's go back and grab them. Bring those in here too. And they have to go on top. But I want this, I want her to be obscured by this countertop in the front, or whatever this thing is. I want all these things to stay together. Let's do this, just because I don't want to deal with it. Right, so where does she fit? Like where does she go in the scene? Does she? I don't want a smokestack growing out of her head. I think right here, because they've got this like dip in the counter. Something like that. And then we can just introduce a mask to this, and again, mask out wherever we don't want her. Again, use the sharpness of whatever it is you're dealing with there. These things here, we get these little knobs and whatever. Kind of digging around those. I don't know, something like that. So I could play with this a bit and kind of come up with more storytelling. I don't think this figure is amazing for these, but it's fun. There's another one I liked. Hey, baby. Want to go into this factory over here? You did. We gotta fix this mask though. See, this is where that bokeh in the back and the foreground is really good. Now again, the edge has to be blurry because you're drawing her in against these blurry objects, so it's just to look the same level of blur. Ta-da! Yeah, exactly. Gotta get rid of the hands. There she is. She's like, hey. I don't like the headgear here. I think it looks terrible without this. Like this saves it. Plus again, area high contrast draws the eye. Again, the blurry foreground is pretty cool. So that's kind of why I collect all these different things, to say bits and pieces of these might be useful to kind of create some big thing. I think ultimately, like if I were just playing with this and goofing around, I would take pieces of this and pieces of this and smash them together to kind of come up with something that, again, is more mine and less just kind of what was created by the AI and just move the girl around. But I like this one the most. This one's actually pretty cool. We did have some other ones that had, didn't we? Have like an epic scene. I guess this is the only one we really kept that had something in the background going on. I like this too, but not for any of what we're doing here today. It's just kind of a cool, cool thingy. I saw a jet engine, I think, in the Oklahoma airport, that Tulsa airport, that they have taken apart, so you can like take pieces of it and photograph it. And I took a bunch of pictures of that, thinking someday I'd use those pieces, and I did. I ended up using bits and pieces of it someday. But anyway, So there you go. That's me goofing around. I don't know that I love any of these, but I have a checkbox now to I have a Steampunk entry, but I don't know that I love any of them. I don't think these are like amazingly impactful images that are going to win us a competition, but hopefully you'll learn something from it. Like, was it entertaining to watch? Did I put you to sleep? Did my voice lull you to sleep? So now you're napping restfully. It's the end of the show, and you're like, well, thanks for that nap. That was awesome. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys today. So I hope it was it was fun. We'll be getting more into stable diffusion once that kind of calms down. Plus, I want to see if they, as I said, they just released their weights. I want to go see if those weights are the same weights that are on the website, because I actually, because I do body paint, I don't care about the not safe for work aspect of it. In some cases, I want shoulders and midriff, and right now it's like trying to blur everything, which is not helpful. And I have some really cool ideas in there, so that's what I'm going to do. That was relaxing. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Well, that's what I got for you guys today. So I have a big prompt one I'm working on, a video that talks about prompt strategy. I kind of mentioned a bit of it today, but I've got so much stuff that I want to share. So I really appreciate you guys in here. Thanks for XPPen for sending me a new tablet to play with. And again, I'm really happy with it because it doesn't have the stupid touch thing. It just needs a pen holder, which, hey, Wacom has supplied. Thank you very much for that, Wacom. But thanks to XPPen for sending me something new to play with, which I really like. I just got to get the buttons programmed the way that I want to. I won't use this. I've never used the wheel on the Wacom. Like this thing here, I just never trusted how it felt. God, I've used this thing for years. It's so scarred up. But I never used this entire side, not once. That's a long time, but it barely. It always connect. It's supposed to connect with Bluetooth, and it works like 20% of the time. This uses one of those little mouse things you plug in, and it worked really great. So, well, thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Like that you made this entertaining for me, because otherwise it's just me sitting here coloring this thing without anybody. Awesome. Sweet. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the likes. You guys are awesome. We'll do this. So tomorrow's going to be awesome. Tomorrow I'm taking a picture. It's actually a body paint that doesn't show anything. And we're going to do something with that for myself. That's not a part of a competition. And I got the girl already picked out. And then we're going to go get the MidJourney image to fit, which again is backwards. But tomorrow is going to be great. And that's typically my Capture One Photoshop day. And we are going to use Capture One, but we're also going to use MidJourney. And again, another heavy duty Photoshop one. You can't believe we caught the start of the stream. That's awesome. So by the way, some of these, Eman's talking. All right, well, let's go listen to what he's saying, and I will catch you guys all tomorrow. Everybody take care, stay safe, and